Hey, what's up again? It's me, Chris Powell. Welcome back to Reshape the Nation. We're talking tips, tricks, and shortcuts for one of the most important aspects of your transformation, and of course we're talking about cravings. I'm sure we've all experienced them. I'm sure you've experienced them. I've certainly experienced quite a few cravings in my life, and it really comes down to this proverbial saying that we like to say, and it's, don't just scratch the itch, learn it. And now really think about it. What am I trying to say here? Well, cravings are natural. They're gonna occur. We're gonna experience them. But it's so important that we don't just give in to them. Understand why we're experiencing the cravings. And I'm about to educate you as to several of the reasons why we can start to experience those cravings and what we're gonna do about it. So when it comes down to the problem, help me, Chris, I'm experiencing strong cravings. What am I gonna do? Well, there's a 4-step process, and we call it the 4 F's. Number 1, fluid. The first thing I want you to do is this right here. Grab some water, and I want you to have a nice tall glass of water. And why is that? Well, because the thirst mechanism that we have in our brain is actually relatively very weak. And so a lot of times we will confuse it for a hunger mechanism. And did you know that the majority of Americans are actually severely dehydrated? Unfortunately, because of that dehydration, a lot of us, we think we're extremely hungry. And so we give into these cravings, but this is really all we really need. We don't know it, our body isn't telling us that, but this is exactly what we need. Just a good 8 ounces of water, throw it down, and in a matter of a couple minutes, you could very well curb those cravings. Now, keep in mind, there's a couple other really cool solutions that we can do in the meantime, because you know what it's like when you got a craving, and a lot of times you'll understand it and think, I'm not going to give into it, but it's just this constant nagging. It's that voice in your head saying, I want this, I want this, I want this. So let's go through the solution list, and the first thing you're going to do is throw down some water. If that doesn't work, no problem. One of the best things you can actually do is change up the flavor that's in your mouth. And one of the really cool things, and one of the most important flavors and strong flavors, is it's like a heavy mint flavor. So sometimes just brushing your teeth, it kind of changes the flavor of the palate. That, or a lot of times if you're hardcore, I can carry these around in my pocket sometimes. And real quick, if I'm craving something sweet or salty, I can throw one of these in, and the flavor is so strong and so overwhelming, it takes it away in a heartbeat. So these are the calorie-free solutions when it comes to curbing those cravings. Now, moving down the list, fiber. Well, what does fiber have to do with curbing cravings? Well, believe it or not, studies have proven that folks who actually eat a high-fiber breakfast are half as likely to indulge in cravings later on in the day. And why is this? That when you start supplementing and using fiber like psyllium fiber, or of course here I got a bowl of oatmeal, if you're going to start putting fiber in your diet, what fiber does is as the food travels from the stomach into the small intestine, it actually slows down in the small intestine. Fiber is like brakes on your food. It slows down, and it can actually slow the gastric emptying process, so the body literally stays fuller longer. And so once again, not a lot of calories, and especially in our whole foods, but all the fiber slows everything down and it curbs our cravings. So if you do consume fiber, we do that before we experience the cravings, and we know that about 3 hours down the road, we're much less likely to start to overindulge in those. Now, the final secret, this is a really fun one, and this has been a trick of the trade in the bodybuilding industry for years. Fats. Believe it or not, fats are one of the most powerful ways to curb your cravings. And how does it work? What happens when we ingest fats like peanut butter, of course I brought fish oil out here because I'm hardcore like that, or cheese, nuts, avocado, all these are their incredible fats, and as they actually travel down your digestive system into your stomach, they trigger something called the vagus nerve, and then they actually travel through and release something called CCK as it moves from the stomach into the small intestine. That CCK, it's a hormone that travels to the brain, and it takes about 20 minutes to do so. Once that CCK hits the brain, it actually sends a signal to tell us that we're full. So if any time you're experiencing sweet or salty, which is typically what most humans begin to crave, if you actually throw down a little bit of fats, about a tablespoon of fat, set your watch or set that clock, and if you watch that clock, that minute hand is going to go about 15 to 20 minutes in. At 20 minutes, you will not experience any more cravings. Isn't that something? And once again, don't take my word for it. Try it. Next time you're experiencing a craving, I want you to grab a tablespoon of peanut butter, a stick of string cheese, maybe a handful of nuts, or a scoop of avocado. Watch that clock. 20 minutes goes by, you ain't gonna want anything sweet or salty. So I hope you learned a little something today. So much more to come. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.